Good morning. I'm Christine Noel. Colorado has spoken. These are the two candidates for governor, Republican Walker Stapleton and Democrat Jared Polis. Both easily won their party's nominations.
And I'm Corey Rose. Republicans are happy, saying it will be an easy win for Stapleton. Polis has already used $11 million of his own money in his bid for Democrats.
Polis won the Democratic primary with 45% of the votes. That is 20% ahead of one-time frontrunner Kerry Kennedy. Mike Johnston finished with 23%. Governor Hickenlooper's hand-picked successor, Lieutenant Governor Donna Lynn, trailed badly with just 7%.
The numbers were a bit closer on the Republican side. Frontrunner Walker Stapleton has taken nearly half the vote, 48%. Victor Mitchell has 30%, Greg Lopez 13%, and Doug Robinson came in at 9%.
The differences between Polis and Stapleton are stark. Polis is a progressive Democrat who has led on restricting oil and gas development, championed the marijuana industry, and called for universal health care. Stapleton has tied himself closely to President Trump, criticizing sanctuary cities like Denver and saying that Colorado does not need to raise taxes to meet education and infrastructure needs. And we saw triumphant moods at both victory parties last night.
Right. Shortly after his win, Polis took a victory lap, shaking hands with his fellow legislators and supporters. During his victory speech, Polis said he wants to make sure voters see a contrast between himself and Stapleton, especially considering how closely Stapleton has aligned himself with President Trump. Polis did say he'd be willing to work with the president.
I'm willing to work with anybody to make Colorado work. And if President Trump is serious about investing in infrastructure, if he's serious about creating jobs, he'll have a partner in me. But you know that I won't be beholden to him. And when he divides us rather than unites us, I will stand up with an inclusive Colorado voice and show that here in Colorado, we will have a bold way forward.
Polis ended by adding he would continue to push for Colorado families and fostering economic growth.
And in Greenwood Village, Walker Stapleton echoed similar sentiments to Polis's, saying that he was willing to work with President Trump. However, he did say that he plans to run the race with Colorado at the forefront. Our Marshall Zellinger spoke with him after his victory speech.
I've said, and I've always said, that I will support the president when Washington makes a decision that benefits Colorado economically. It's why I was one of the first to support the president's tax plan, as you know, Marshall. And I'll stand up to Washington on policies that I think will hurt Colorado in the future.
During his victory speech, Stapleton took time to highlight some of the differences between himself and Polis, including his preference toward a single-payer health care system and a responsible energy plan.
Bill Owens introduced Stapleton ahead of his victory speech last night. Owens was the last Republican governor. He served from 1999 to 2007. Now, longtime Coloradans remember names like Ritter, Owens, Romer, and Lamb when they think of the governor. All men.
Republican Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman was soundly defeated in her attempt to get on the GOP gubernatorial ballot. Two Democratic women made the ballot but could not make history. 9 News anchor Kim Christensen reports. That was Kim Christensen reporting. We're still awaiting word from the current governor on this year's primary. Overnight, we checked Governor Hickenlooper's Twitter account and website. He has not issued a statement there. On Facebook, he did put a call out urging voters to cast their ballots early on Tuesday. We'll be sure to update you when we get reaction from him.
We've also kept a close watch for the Democratic race for Attorney General overnight. Last night, it was too close to call when we went to air, and this morning, we can report Phil Weiser and Joe Salazar are still pretty much neck and neck. Weiser leads with a 51% of the vote. Salazar has 49%. Salazar, an attorney and state representative, had Senator Bernie Sanders' endorsement. Weiser previously worked in the Justice Department for Presidents Clinton and Obama. The Democratic winner will go on to face George Brockler, who did not face a primary challenger.
The race to replace Walker Stapleton as state treasurer is a close one on the Republican side. Brian Watson and Justin Everett are in first and second places. Watson has 38% to Everett's 36%. The Republican will face Democrat Dave Young this November. Young easily won the Democratic Party. He had 69% of the vote.
Republican Congressman Mike Kaufman will face Democrat Jason Crow. Crow is an attorney and U.S. Army Ranger. He beat Levi Tillman, who works as an energy consultant. Crow received 68% of the vote to Tillman's 32%. The race will be one of the most watched in America this November. There will be a huge influx of outside money as Democrats try to flip the House.
Republican Congressman Doug Lamborn in Colorado Springs will defend his seat this November. He's seeking a 7th term in office. A controversy over petition signatures almost kept him off the ballot. He'll face newcomer Stephanie Rose Spalding. She is a professor at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs.
Congresswoman Diana DeGette beat her opponent in one of her toughest Democratic primary challengers in years. Her opponent, Saira Rao, ran a more progressive campaign. DeGette received 73% of the vote. Rao finished with 27%. DeGette has been serving Colorado's 1st congressional district since 1997.
Thank you. God bless America and God bless South Carolina.
President Trump's pick for the governor of South Carolina is the state's GOP candidate for the office. Henry McMaster secured his nomination Tuesday night. The president appeared at a rally for him this week. The governor was an early endorser of then candidate Trump. He reinforced his alliance with the president throughout the nomination battle. McMaster will square off against Democrat James Smith. Mitt Romney will return to politics after a landslide win in Utah's primary for the U.S. Senate. Romney buried opponent Mike Kennedy by about 45 points on Tuesday night. He is already the overwhelming favorite to win in November. The 2012 Republican presidential nominee didn't mention President Trump's in his remarks, but made a pointed call for a civility and dignity from our political leaders.
Overnight, the president gave his input on the loss of a longtime Democratic congressman from New York. Joseph Crowley was critical of the president and his policies. His loss was one of the biggest upsets in the primaries across the country. He lost to Alexandria Cortez, who worked for Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. She's never held office. On Twitter, the president said Crowley, quote, should have been nicer and more respectful to his president, end quote.
Back in Colorado, we've got numbers on just how many of you cast your ballots for this primary. Out of a million ballots, 411,000 were Democratic ballots, more than 380,000 Republican ballots. This was the first primary election where unaffiliated voters could partake. 250,000 unaffiliated voters cast a ballot. 3.8 million people are eligible to vote in the state of Colorado. For a closer look at the results, you can head to 9news.com.
Later this morning, we're going to break down all of the races with analysis from our political experts. Democrat Ian Silveri and Republican Kelly Maher will join us coming up at 6:45. For now, we want to get a check of the forecast. Marty is joining us. It's been really warm this week.
And we were all praying together for a miracle. So Kenneth was the miracle definitely on that flight.
A firefighter stays on duty even on his way to vacation.
Later this morning, we'll hear how he saved a woman's life 30 minutes into a flight without any medical equipment.
All right, you won't have to resort to eBay to get your 90s cheese ball fix anymore. Planters heard the call to bring the snack back, and it's happening in just a few days.